What's up, YouTube family? I'm Asia. If you're not new, welcome back. Hello. Let me make sure I look into the screen over there. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna share with you something that I feel like I've been working on, and I'm hoping that by the end of this video, that this can help you too. Okay. So when it comes to self-worth, okay, self-love, I've been working on that, and I know that concept in itself seems like it's something that I don't know. It feels like it could be simple. Okay, it feels like it could be simple. But I feel like that's a lot of things. A lot of times, we as humans go through this all the time, right? Like when I was at a job, I got let go of my job. Maybe I think it's been 2 months. And I remember coming to work like during my last and final days, and I was thinking to myself, like, I'm drowning here, I'm suffocating, I don't think this is for me, but I don't know what direction I should go in, right? And I was just really beating myself up. I was depressed, and I was fighting depression, and I was trying to figure out like how not to go through life like this. I'm like, Naija, if you stay in this particular job, right, are you going to have this feeling every day? Are you going to wake up to this feeling every day? And if this job can't change at this moment in time. And I said to myself, like, okay, I don't know how to change the situation because I need the money, but I can change how I feel about the situation. So I said, okay, change how you feel. That's the only thing you can change, just how you feel about the situation. So knowing that I didn't really like the job that much, I feel like it wasn't challenging, whatever. And I said, okay, I have to change the way I think about it. You know what I'm saying? Or my life is going to be miserable. Now, you have to think about life like that in all aspects and all categories of your life. Certain things you might not can't change at the moment, right? But you can change how you feel about the situation. And when you start changing the way you feel about the situation, you change your state of being, your state of beingness, you know, your energy, your frequency. You change that, right? And I said, no matter what I do, or no matter where I am, no matter where I go, there are going to be circumstances that I don't like. And I come to a point in my life where I'm like, I can't let my emotions take lead on my life. Not in that way, anyway. And I said, I don't want to be crying. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to let other people's words and situations upset me. I don't want to go through life like that. I don't want to look at life like that. So I said, I need to take more control on how I feel in the moment, right? But not because of the circumstance, but because of what I want to feel. So it's like I'm taking my power back. I'm putting my attention on how I want to feel about life. And I don't know if a lot of us are doing that, or like is that something that comes into your consciousness, because I know people might be in pain, you know, they might be in a situation they feel like that's bad or dire, or you know, or they might have everything and they're wondering why there's a hole in their life, like why does it feel like something's missing in me, you know what I'm saying? And so because it stems back to you and your relationship with God, and that's a whole big topic, and I don't want to get into within this particular video. So what I want to encourage you to do is to step back and take a look at yourself and how you feel, right? Change that feeling. And I know it's been coded to have a certain reaction, or have a certain coding to certain reactions in life, because everything is showing us how we need to be, how we need to feel, how we need to look, how we need to feel about ourselves. But how does God feel about us? You know what I'm saying? How does the God in us feel about us? Because I used to think that God did not love me, and that God was not even giving me scraps. I feel like God was just ignoring me. And I started to not believe in God. And I was just like, there's no God, okay? There's no God. Because there's no way the good person that I am, that God would just overlook me like that. And then for some reason, I came to the realization that I looked within first and I said, well, you exist. What makes you exist? And I was just like, I don't know what makes me exist. Well, the thing that you don't know or you're not recognizing that makes you exist is God. And I was like, hello, lightning bolt moment in my life. And I was like, dang God, my bad, my bad. So I get how people say that they don't believe in God. I get that because I was there. But staying there is a choice, okay? Staying there is definitely a choice. You exist, God exists. Y'all equal. It's just, that's just it. And when you start doing a lot of self-reflecting, when you start just asking yourself different things of like, what do you really love? What do you really enjoy? What is the state that you really love about how you feeling? Like if you are looking for a certain feeling in life, right? And you feel like an accomplishment is going to get you to that feeling, why not become the feeling now? And I'm like, well, because I don't have that thing. But then what if you get that thing and because you've been practicing this other feeling, it's still a hole, like it's still a void, you know, in your life. So why don't you work on becoming, being that feeling that you have the thing, and not focusing on getting the thing and being in that state of whatever state that is. And I was like, okay, I mean, it sounds simple enough, but we're programmed to react all the time, consume fear. We're programmed to scroll on social media. We're programmed to want the things other people have, right? And because we feel like that's going to give us that feeling we've been looking for, that void. And I feel like everybody's been looking for something, right? That's why they get into this depressive mode. That's why they look at themselves a certain way. That's why they feel a certain way, because they've been programmed to think that they're not enough and that they don't have everything they need to be really who their God self is, right? And that was me. And sometimes I still battle with that. I still battle with recognizing that I'm enough and I deserve good things in my life. Especially when you have other people around you saying that you don't have enough. You don't have these things. These things equal happiness. These things equal success, you know? And I was just like, well, are you going to go through your whole life? When you get over 40, you start realizing a lot of things. Like, you start realizing, like, you cannot give away your peace so freely. You can't give away your happiness so freely. Can't, all those things that you enjoy, that you love, that makes you feel good and whole and just good, like this goodness, this fulfillment inside, you can't give away those stuff so freely. And I feel like we don't even know sometimes that we're giving away these things. That's why we end up in this hole, in this void, you know? So I encourage you to, when shit happens, take a step back, breathe, and say, what do I want to feel? And what do I not want to feel? And then choose. Okay? Choose. Don't let the brain go on autopilot and choose for you. Okay? Because whatever you've been feeding or putting your attention to, that's the output you're going to get from your brain, which I'm learning. And I'm glad that I came to the realization that I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm always going to choose my peace. I'm always going to choose my happiness regardless. Because when you choose your peace and when you choose you and your happiness, you're choosing God. Amen? Amen. So I'm Naisha. I'll see you in the next video. I hope this resonated with your spirit. Hey, hello. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.